Hello and welcome to another episode of What Do You Call It podcast. I'm your host, GB. Today's guest is an award-winning actor, producer, writer, and director. Please welcome Jameson Quinn. Jameson, how you doing today, mate? You all good?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show today. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Over in
Good.
England, it's pretty fucking cold at the moment. It's
It's just as cold right here where I'm at in the States. Oh no.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. But at least we're indoors. We can have a little chat for the next 20, 30 minutes and
Yes.
sort of keep ourselves busy. So I like to rewind the clocks with my guests and sort of go back to the origins of their backgrounds. With you, Jameson, I want to know what was your first acting role?
My first acting role. The first thing I ever did on film was actually was a background role, it was a featured background role in a movie called Sudden Death, 1994. I was a kid. That was a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. And I
No
was
way.
I was one of the kids in the crowd, getting popcorn with
Yeah,
criminals running past us and knocking things out of our hands. So it
that's
was a good
awesome.
time. That was
What an
my first
introduction.
glimpse into actual film and television.
Yeah. Oh, mate, that's pretty cool, to be fair.
Yeah, oh
Where
yeah.
did you become to train to become an actor?
So it wasn't until a little bit later on I took some courses and some workshops through local companies here in the Pittsburgh area. I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the United States. So there, and when I started as a kid in the '90s, there wasn't as many opportunities available. But when I came back to the business, and I want to say it was around 2011, 2010, a lot more training programs that opened up. We were able to take classes at Carnegie Mellon University and workshops at the local colleges like Robert Morris University, things like that. So we got a little more familiar. There's a lot of great acting for the camera workshops through places like Doherty Agency and Mosser Casting in the Pittsburgh area. Did a little bit of training in the Cleveland area as well. A little bit in New York here and there when I can get up there. But yeah, and a lot of it has been on the job training. I think that's been the best training I could have asked for, was just getting out there eventually and doing it, getting on set with people who were far more experienced than myself at the time and still at times, just to learn from what they do and kind of absorb that all in. I think is the best learning environment,
Nice.
depending upon who you're with.
Oh, really? I was gonna Well, I can imagine there's a lot of actors that you've been able to sort of pick their brains over the years,
So
and
many.
there's a lot that I do want to dissect. But I've got to ask you first of all, what was it like being involved in the Dark Knight Rises as
Uh,
one of the Gothamite? So was that during the big fight scene?
yeah. We were there for the prison breakout with the big fight in front of the prison when the winds were blowing like crazy and bodies flying everywhere. It seemed like there was 2 million people there. But that was there was so much energy, and it was a July day in Pittsburgh, and it was about 92 degrees, and we were all wearing winter clothes, and they had fake snow all over
Yeah,
the Oakland area in Pittsburgh, and it was you were supposed to be freezing, and yet you couldn't have been sweating. I think most of us were ready to pass out just from the extreme heat, not so much the fight sequences. But it was such a good time, man, to stand in Gotham City, to
yeah.
watch that come to life, man. As a fan of Batman my whole life, that was pretty super cool to actually watch that and to see Christian Bale do his thing and Anne Hathaway and Tom Hardy. Man, everybody was fantastic to be around, and the the choreography of everything and how really technical that everything was. Everybody pieced it together real nice, man. And the whole city of Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania had a great time doing it. I it was a blast, man. Just to be in Gotham City, man. I don't think I could
To
say
do it
enough
in your
about it.
hometown, that must
In
have
my
been extra
hometown,
special.
I was 20 minutes from home, and it was Gotham City all of a sudden.
That's
Yeah,
pretty cool. Yeah, just go and off and be back soon.
yeah. Just I'm just heading down to Gotham. Fight some crime. We'll be back.
Nice, mate. Nice. I mean, just to be part of one of the biggest comic book film franchises
Oh
in
my
the history
gosh,
of films, mate, and you've done
right.
it.
And yeah, and they can't take that away from me. It might. I always say it's not going to be my biggest role, but it was definitely the biggest film I've ever been on. It doesn't get any much bigger than Batman, right? Especially the
Definitely,
Christopher
mate.
Nolan saga. That was fantastic.
Yeah, man. Definitely agree, mate. Definitely agree. The background, so those who watch on YouTube, you can see the images of the wrestlers. Obviously, this is predominantly a wrestling podcast, so I'm gonna discuss some wrestling related
I hope
films.
so.
And Jameson obviously has done some wrestling projects. So I'm actually gonna begin by talking about your appearance as a zombie in the cult horror film. The smile there gives it away already. Pro wrestlers versus zombies. I've never discussed it in the podcast before. I watched it years ago.
Mhm.
Um, Joe I've got a soft spot for it. I mean, rest in peace, Piper, Shane Douglas, Matt Hardy. Um,
So
it's
many
just such
greats.
a unique film, and you got to be a part of it, mate. Tell me about it all.
It was so much fun. And this was 2013, so we're going on about 12 years now, I guess. Just and then it was some of it was in the Pittsburgh area, a lot of it was in Parkersburg, West Virginia. A lot of it was
Yeah.
done in an old, state penitentiary in Parkersburg, West Virginia that had been shut down. So there was no power in the building and no heat, and everything was kind of. And actually, I think it led to a lot of authenticity for what we were looking for in the film because when people were running hurt and frightened, and a lot of it was just being cold and actually paranoid about where you were running because you couldn't see going around the corners. But working with Rowdy Piper, man, was a dream come true. He's a gentleman. He's a professional, and I was actually able to pick his brain on set a few times. We spent a whole lunch break together. That was
Did you ask him about
some.
They Live?
I did, yeah. We got to talk about They Live, and and yeah, it was to him. I think it was his favorite film, at least if not his favorite, definitely up there in his top two that he had ever done. And I think his performance, I say all the time, and I know I'm getting away from Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies for a second, but the best fight scene I've ever seen on film is in They Live. I've never seen a better street fight than I
Literally goes
have
on
in
about
They
4 or 5 minutes,
Live.
and it's just so authentic, isn't it?
Mhm. Oh, for sure. Yeah. And to work with him and Shane Douglas and like I said, Matt Hardy, you mentioned a few of the guys. Kurt Angle was there.
Mhm.
So much fun. So much fun. Shane Douglas directed a lot of our scenes that we did. So that was
Hey,
kind of cool. And then Pipe.
basketball.
Oh yeah. And then you've seen the film, so you got to see that,
Yeah,
Piper reenacted the coconut scene, the infamous coconut
yeah.
where he hits the other zombie across the head with the coconut. So that was so much fun to be there and witness that because that was such an iconic moment in his wrestling career. We got to have that time to do that, but it was so cool. So many people came out to be featured in the film, and I just was really blessed to have a chance to be a part of all that with those guys. Because that's like you said, man. Now it's kind of a little bit of a cult classic. You don't know when you're going into something, but
There's
people,
so many big YouTubers now, wrestling ones, that will review that film.
yeah,
And well, okay, sometimes okay, they'll knock it a little bit, but you can tell they
sure.
all kind of still enjoy it at the same time. That makes sense,
Mhm. I
which
think it
makes
did
it
what
that
it was
cult
meant to
classic.
do. Is it is
Yeah,
it is it crazy? Is it silly? Is it corny? It's all those things, but it's
yes,
also horrific and scary and everything a zombie film should be.
definitely, definitely. Did you get to enjoy it even more though, being a wrestling fan?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Like I said, just being a wrestling fan, I had to put the actor aside for a second and just like take it all in and breathe it
Yeah.
all in because like how often do you get to work with guys like Rowdy Piper and Shane Douglas and Kurt Angle and
Mm.
all those guys, man? That was so much fun. Matt Hardy, like I said, we've talked about them, but for the fan in me, man, I was like a 12-year-old kid again, just watching Hot Rod do his thing, man, and and little did I know that less than 2 years later he would be gone. So to
Yeah.
be able to have that moment, man, that was a lot of fun, and a lot of people don't realize, he aside from being a great wrestler, man, he had a really good acting career. He was a SAG-AFTRA actor for a long time, and he took his profession very serious. If you watch the way he handled himself on set, and people knew how to take cues from him, it was really quite astonishing to see him at work, just like a trained professional, and that's what he was.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that, mate. I got to meet him as a fan about a year before he passed in England. But for you to
Mhm.
have the opportunity to work side by side
Yeah,
with him, so, as an actor and a professional, but also as a fan, that's pretty cool. And I'm a
it
little bit
was.
jealous.
Thank yeah, yeah.
Um,
That one they can't take away from me, right?
yeah, mate. Yeah. Keeping on with the wrestling theme, but it's to talk about your 12th letter, a Christian short film starring yourself and wrestling legend James Storm. Tell me about this short film. Saw clips of it. Looks quite good.
Yeah, the 12th letter. It's based off a book written by author Jackie Hovorka, and it's about a veteran battling PTSD. He's recently back in Texas from the war, and he just doesn't know how to really cope with anything and or life. And once you get out of a certain environment and the things that our soldiers deal with, he just and so many deal with it today. It was about the 22 a day, and we were trying to bring a lot of awareness to to the suicide that that goes with the 22 a day, and then that number is just horrendous to even think that there's so many per day. That's why we wanted to bring kind of raise awareness so that people could understand what these guys are going through. But the film itself, it has a fun little twist in it too, because my character, he moves into a home in the Galveston, Texas area that had been like an orphanage for children 100 plus years ago, and he finds this old diary, and he's going through the diary, and it belonged to a nun who lived, like I said, 100 years before him. So he figured, you know what, I'm just going to start reading it. It gives me something to do. I'm by myself. I got nothing, that I'm really interested in the world besides drinking. So he reads the diary and he decides, you know what, I'm going to start writing back to her just because nobody's ever going to see it, And so he goes to the bar the next day after writing some messages in the diary, comes back home, stumbles in, picks up the diary, goes to writing it again, and realizes that he had now been answered. And this goes on for a few days. Like every time he writes something that the 900 years earlier he realizes is answering him. And this is blowing his mind because they're communicating through some type of window from 100 years earlier. And it's what it is it's the feathered ink pen that they're using as some kind of porthole between the two worlds. And so they're both using that same pen to write back and forth to each other in the diary. And it was wild. It blew his mind, and it kind of gave him hope again that that there's more out there than he really understood in this world. And they both helped each other out because there was this major flood in Galveston that actually wiped out the sister, the nun, and all the kids that 100 some years earlier. And so they
Yeah.
were able to give each other some comfort in a time that was really devastating for both of them, actually. Um, and along the way, he meets a few people that try to help him through it at a local sports bar, which entered James Storm. He had been in the war, and his character had been through a lot of similar stuff. So he kind of sees that where I'm at mentally, where my character Trey Reynolds is at, and kind of tries to help cope him through it. Nobody else in there can really get through to him, but but his character. And so when these two guys meet, I think it goes a long way in settling Trey Reynolds down to where he can at least function in society with a few people, because he's really indifferent with everyone around him because he's not real happy with himself right now. But really, I think it really opened a lot of eyes to people
Yeah.
that had been battling with PTSD. We sat down with a lot of veterans before we did the film and tried to pick their brains and things like that to kind of put yourself in a mental, because no matter what performance you give, you can never give it enough justice.
Yeah.
To what these men and women have been through. So we thank them for
Just a
everything they've
subject.
done.
You've got to sort of do the best you can, but with such respect and care.
Sure.
Don't want to sort of go in
Yeah.
the wrong direction.
And it felt really good to be able to help in any kind of way. And if we could, deliver that message to even one person that was dealing with a problem, we can help that one person, and then we did our job.
Yeah, I respect that, mate. I respect that. I'm just going to ask about your acting. What I want to ask, quite an interesting question, is how do
Sure.
you manage your energy during sort of long rehearsals or shooting schedules?
Yeah, it can be challenging at times. I think you have to mentally prepare yourself, and a lot of it is the preparation leading into the day of the shoot. I'm one of those guys that studies the script and studies the script and studies the script, but I also try to eat healthy. I work out a lot for days leading up to it. I try to get enough rest because your body has to mentally be able to deal with what goes on a regular day on the set. And so, it could be a quite physical day, and your body needs to be able to keep up with that. So I try to mentally and physically train myself to be ready by, upping cardio and eating a lot healthier before a shoot than you normally would, less grease and things that would otherwise cramp you or make you tired on set. So I think those are good preparation efforts, but also just really studying your character and the situation and meeting with people who've been through similar things to what your character is. I think you got to go in there and meet with people ahead of time and kind of do your homework on it. So there's a lot of preparation there.
The short film that you did, Sandman,
Yes.
is that based on yourself, like biography?
It is. It's about 70% about what I did in my real life, and we added a few elements like the demon eyes and then the paranormal aspect that we threw in there. We thought that would be a really cool tool to help tell the story. But yeah, it was about an ex fighter who had gone through a corrupt union and was dealing with a lot of things, battling, potentially losing his home, and yeah, a lot of things that really hit home in my real life, things that had happened with me, 10 plus years earlier that I was dealing with. It was a real therapeutic way to like tell that story and to bring it, out on film and television, and to just kind of live it again in order to exercise that demon, for lack of a better term.
Nice, mate. Nice. Um, what is your most significant professional accomplishment, and what did you learn from it?
You know what? Since we're on the subject of Sandman, I'm going to go back to it already, because it's the first time and the only time that I've ever played a character based on my own life. And
Yeah,
and I always say this, it's as close as I'll ever come to playing myself on camera. Um, so I think being able to to tell that story, and to get it out there, and to actually show yourself that you can go through a situation again that was otherwise tough, that actually, might have caused you a little harm earlier on. I think knowing that you could survive that situation, and learn from it, and put it out there in a positive way, man, that to me, just to be able to do that, and to put a little justice for my family and myself, to finally say, hey, you know what, it was all worth it, or
yeah,
what we did, and we do it all again tomorrow just to get to do this again. So that it was kind of cool to be able to do that. So that, yeah, that was definitely a special role for me. So I'm glad you brought that up.
nice, nice. Glad you enjoyed that question. I've been following you for a while now on Instagram, and it's sort of going back to the wrestling theme.
Sure.
And I recall seeing you being involved in the Darby Allin black and white promo video,
Oh my God, so
and
much
it was
fun.
Darby's damn
Yeah.
Darby's Derby Gang. It's not you saying that, and it was
Yes.
featured on AEW TV. Mate, tell me all about that experience
Yeah,
being
that
on the
was.
AEW Rampage.
Oh man, it was so much fun. I got a call from my agent that they were, looking for actors that actually had skateboarding experience, and I did. Just had been some time before that. Um, it was so much fun. It was the very first episode of AEW Rampage, and it was in my hometown in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So the timing couldn't have been better.
Yeah,
And we worked with Darby all day long. The day of the shoot, we actually did the video the same day of the first day of AEW Rampage. So he had to film that all afternoon with us, and then go right out to the ring and do what they do every night. But that it was so much fun. We choreographed a lot of the skateboarding we were doing. We took a lot, and if you've ever been to Pittsburgh, or even in the state of Pennsylvania in the States, it's very hilly. So there isn't a road in the city that's not really steep. And
yeah,
so, and Darby took every monster hill that you probably shouldn't on a skateboard, and
not
just
surprised.
just made it look great. Cars were diving out of the way, and then we didn't really have people blocking the roads maybe the way they should have. But I think it just led for a more intense moment, which is what we were going for. It was so much fun, man. And I finally, at the end of it, I told myself I shouldn't do it, but I'm doing it anyway. We had to take the big hill with Darby at the end, and I'm like, I don't.
Yeah,
It's been years since I've been out here. I shouldn't do this, but there's no way. There's not a chance in hell I'm not taking this hill with Darby.
yeah. It's like,
Yeah,
fuck it, let's do it.
yeah. And I mean, I think I fell off maybe we shot it a few different times. I think I fell off at the end twice, but I didn't give a shit. It was we're going for it, man. I'm going to be able to at least talk about this experience
Yeah.
later. I break
Might have
something,
a
it'll
broken
heal.
leg, but it was worth
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it'll heal up, man. But you know what? This is what we got to do, and it appeared later that night on the first episode. They had it all edited and ready to go, and it looked super cool. And you got a chance to see the video,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
montage. Oh, so much fun, man. So many cool people involved there, and it was, yeah. You can't. That's another one they can't take away from you.
Hey, to do all these experiences and these opportunities in your hometown, mate, on your doorstep, that's so cool.
It's crazy because when I was a kid, we didn't have a lot of that. But I think a lot of the Hollywood and wrestling moments, all these events started coming east in order to get a little more bang for their buck. I think because everything's so expensive to do out west in Hollywood. But it's great. But we can come here and get very similar looks for a better price. And I think Pittsburgh is one of those cities that emulates like a quintessential New York sometimes. And when you're in certain parts of the city, and you get a better bang for your buck, and like I said, it's a great time. And I'm taking advantage of every opportunity you can here. And I'll travel too. I go wherever I have to, but it's just really cool when you can do it right outside your door.
That's it, mate. That's it. One or two more questions, and then I'll let you enjoy your
Sure.
afternoon. That time recording. It's still quite early for you.
Nah, I'm having a good time.
um, tell me why, and I'm going to use quotation marks. This is your favorite quote. It's not the words you say, it's how you say the words.
So there's a little background on that story. When I was a kid, and my grandfather passed away some years ago, that was a quote that he told myself and my dad a lot. And I didn't understand it for the life of me, but he kept telling me it all the time. And I'm like, why? What do you mean by it? It sounds cool, right? And it didn't really kick in until 20 plus years later when I'm on set studying from my scripts and different things. And then I landed my first couple big roles. And then I started looking at it and I'm going, this is what he was talking about. It's not the words you say, it's how you say the words. This is what I do every day as an actor. It's
Yeah,
not the words I say on script, it's how I say them. It's how, the meaning that I give behind them by the way I deliver them. And I'm like, how the heck would he know that 25 or 30 years even earlier, telling me this as a kid, that was going to be so important to me later on? And maybe that wasn't what he meant, but it ended up being very valuable to me. Those words just stick in my brain all the time. So that's what I say.
I do think it's very it translates to what you do, and now you've explained it to me, yeah, I actually get a much better understanding of it. I mean, I like
Yeah,
to say stuff, but it didn't quite sink in with me at first. But now saying out loud and hearing your sort of explanation why you love the quote, I think
that's why I love it. Yeah.
I get
But
it.
I think his meaning was probably just how you handle your everyday life. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
if you get in a predicament to where maybe you might handle a situation wrong, think about it first and think about how you want to say the words.
yeah, that's it, mate. Last question for you, Jameson. This doesn't have to be about wrestling or films or acting or directing, but you can make it about it. It's up to you. It's my
Sure.
signature question. Three dream dinner guests for your dream party, dead or alive, past or present, fiction, non-fiction, doesn't matter. Three guests. Give me number one and a quick explanation.
Humphrey Bogart, who is to me
Fair play.
one of my favorite actors of all time, a definite inspiration, and the man I think that changed. So he was the guy that wasn't supposed to be. And I think
Yeah,
I kind of identify with that. They all told him, you know what, you got a lisp, or you're not tall enough, or you're not the guy we're looking for. And he's, and at 41 years old, he said, you know what, screw that, here I am. And he made his first big one. You know what I mean? And that's when the Maltese Falcon took off, and he wasn't the side player anymore. He was the guy. And from that point on, so yeah, definitely Humphrey Bogart. I think he changed cinema and what the superstar could look like, and what the star could be. I think he was huge in that department. I'm going to go with another actor just because of my inspiration here in my own hometown, and that's Michael Keaton, the best Batman in my opinion of all time.
I agree.
Uh,
I agree. As much as I prefer the Nolan Batmans, but the actual Batman, Michael Keaton all day long.
no doubt about it. Let's see if we can get away from the acting side and find somebody. You said three people. Hmm.
I feel like you want to say Kurt Angle because of the hometown.
Yeah, no, yeah, but the thing is with that, I've actually met Kurt numerous times, and Kurt is a funny story, but Kurt's family and I go way back too because we worked together in the construction industry for a long time. So, I know a lot of his family and got to meet Kurt several times. So, and he's a
Oh,
great human being,
yeah,
fantastic guy. But yeah, now you can definitely add him. It's kind of a Mount Rushmore at dinner guest right there, right?
I love it. Humphrey
Would definitely.
Bogart. Never thought I'd hear that name. Michael Keaton. I want to say yes or no, but I don't think so. I could be wrong.
Hmm?
But Humphrey Bogart, fair play. I remember watching Maltese Falcon in university, and I
Yes.
didn't really quite appreciate it, to be honest. But I know it's loved by a lot of film fans. So, do apologize for film fans that don't appreciate it. And Kurt freaking Angle,
Oh
one
my
living
gosh.
legend with his broken neck,
Yeah, yeah,
legend.
dinner with Kurt, dinner with all three of those guys, man, that would be fantastic. Then let's add another one since we're talking about wrestling. If I
Hey,
could
you're
put
the
a
host.
fourth
You
head
get to
on there,
squeeze in
let's
one more plate.
let's.
Go on.
I'd be remiss if I didn't add the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, to the list.
Greatest
Been
of all time. The GOAT.
yes,
Sorry,
yes,
Brett.
the goat. So yeah, there's my guys right there.
Nice, mate. Nice. Jameson, thank you very much for your time. Is there anything you want to say? Anything you want to promote? The opportunity is yours because we're at the end of the interview, mate.
Well, I thank you for that. I'd just say if you get a chance, follow me on social media. All of my socials: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Blue Sky now, TikTok. Everything is at Real James Quinn. And so it's at Real James Quinn. Interact with me. I love chatting with everybody. I got a new TV series pilot that just got finished up called Strange Angels. Season one is in the works here. We're getting back to that in 2026. So please be on the lookout for it, man. We got a lot of good things. That's based on a book by our author Ernest Keegan. So we're really excited about that. So please look out for it. And thanks for having me on the show today, man. It's great chatting with you.
Yeah, mate. Absolutely enjoy that. Flew by. Had a bit of technical issues, new laptop, so trying to figure out. So the camera's not perfect at the moment. Please forgive me, but the interview itself, I think, was brilliant, and I
Oh,
think it absolutely flew by, mate. So thank you, Jameson, for your time. Thank you
my
for coming
pleasure.
on. Give him a follow. Give me a follow on my social media handles. They'll be in the description below. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. But for now, everyone, have a great weekend.